Hi, I'm Rick DeGeer, your host for this edition of the RANS video newsletter, an inside look at what's happening at RANS. Topics for this edition include the S10, what's new for 1998, and we'll find out what a Wiffle Tree is. An inside look at how we stitch it up. And we'll compare pre-sewn Dacron to Dopin fabric. All that and more right after this. Just released your cure for cabin fever. Splash and Dash with us. Order your copy of the new float plane video, Splash and Dash. 40 minutes of water action to melt your winter blues. $15 at RANS factories everywhere. Up next is Jens to talk about the S10 for 1998.
Now it's time to talk about the new 1998 version of the S10 Sakota. The S10 Sakota is, after years in service, still a very popular choice, and so we decided to do some change. We give you some exciting improvements, we think, for the new 1998 model, and we increase comfort. You get a much more comfortable airplane. We also make it more stable. We increase stability, and I think we get a nicer handling, and I think we also increase the performance of the airplane. This is a 1997 model. We should have the 98 model out and flying about in April, and we think about shipping kits to end of April. Okay, now let's start on the front of the airplane. I want to show you what we are going to change. We are not going to change the cowling, but we change the trim line on the top cowling, so we get more clearance on the spark plugs, especially on the 582 version. We change the spinner. We are going to a larger spinner, to the 13-inch spinner. It works nicer with this changed trim line, with this little higher top cowling. Now let me show you what we change on the gear of the new 98-10 model. We change the style of the gear legs. We go to our steel tapered gear legs like we use them on our hour for better ground handling. We change the sides of the tires like we have them on the 6. So the main wheel will be equipped with heavy-duty Matco disc hydraulic brakes. So we gave you so much more brake power. And I think with these larger tires and with the larger wheel pans like we have them on the 6, we make the handling on the ground nicer for you. What we are going to do in the tail, we go to a larger, more squared corner rudder. We change the style of the plane a little bit. It makes it looking nicer, and I think it increases rudder power, especially for aerobatics. We go to slightly downsized elevators, and to increase stability, we mount the elevator downspring and a fixed up trim tab here on this side. This system we have on our new S16, and it works pretty nice. The trim tab will be a sheet metal trim tab. We don't use this spring anymore. We use a wire-in cable housing system. The trim wheel or trim lever will be mounted on the flap handle lever between the seats on the plane. Now it's time to explain what we are going to do in the cabin area and the pilot environment. I think the main thing here is we widen the cabin. This gives you much more comfort, especially when you fly long legs. It gives us also the possibility to mount 2 separate seats, like we have them on the 16. I think it will make the plane so much nicer. You really will enjoy it. Also, we are thinking about to change the style of the control stick. We probably go to 2 separate control sticks, like we have it on the 6 or on the 16. So we can mount a cable and push-pull tube operated aileron system. I think it will make you feeling the ailerons more solid, and the system is so much safer and nicer as we have it now. We mount the flap handle lever between the seats, so it's more comfortable for you, and we also mount the trim system, the trim wheel, on the flap handle lever between the seats. Now let me show on the wing. We have separate ailerons, we have separate flaps. This gives us the possibility to extend the flaps more. I think we slow down the stall speed, and we also make the handling of the plane nicer with separate flaps. Now let me show what we are doing to give you not only a wider cabin, to give you more headroom. We change the style of the canopy. This means we use formed Lexan panels in the door area to give you more headroom. We also changed the style of the canopy back here. We go to a low back version, a standard equipped on S10, about to here. So you also have a better visibility on the 9810 model. So I really think you will enjoy the 9810 model. You really will like the features we add to this plane, and the retail price for the 98 model is about $15,500.
It's been years in the making. It's taken thousands of hours of flying. It's been asked for. It's been begged for. And now it's coming. Soon, the new RANS aircraft video.
My name is Richard Haregill. This is my RANS S6ES with, I built it in 1990, and it's got 1,508 hours on it. It's been to Florida, Mexico, California, Oshkosh, Sun and Fun, over the Rocky Mountains. You can't buy a better airplane than this. It carries anything you can get in it. I didn't say that, Randy. It's real fun. I wouldn't trade it for any other airplane I know of if I had to fly it. I'd trade it for a Learjet if I could sell the Learjet and buy some more Coyotes.
I'm Tom Gutton from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and we bought this RANS in 1991. We've flown the airplane all over the country. We bought 3 of them at the time, and we've got 800 hours on this one. Just been a real good plane for us. Like I said, we've flown it all over the country. We've flown it to Canada and flown it down to Mexico and had it in Florida, Sun and Fun several times, and flown up to Oshkosh several times. Flew it over out to Colorado in the Rocky Mountains, and it's just been a great plane. You can load them down and carry camping gear and 2 people, and it's just been an excellent plane. My son flies it also. He learned how to fly in it. He sold it when he was 13. It's a real forgiving, docile airplane. Handle all kinds of weather, winds and so forth, and it's a nice, solid, smooth riding plane. Good performance also. When I bought the plane, it had a 582 in it. We flew it for about 500 hours with the 582 in it, and we've changed the Subaru and been flying it with a turbocharged Subaru engine in it the last couple of years, which made it a little heavier, but it's also got a lot more performance, good reliability, smooth running, good fuel economy, and real happy with it.
I'm from Atwood, Kansas. I chose RANS because I liked the looks of it. I thought it was a well-built kit, and I use it for checking my fields. I got the kit in December of '96 and started flying in March of '97.
Okay. Folks, this is a Wiffle Tree, and we're going to find out how it works. Considerable testing is accomplished with the RANS product. A little bit, I'm kind of curious, load testing. What does it mean? We talk of G-forces, and how do you perform all of your tests?
Well, you know, load testing has always been required by us, but not by the government. See, when you make a kit plane, you don't have to. You can just build it and fly it, and consumer beware. But we've always not liked that policy because it doesn't create a long-running company. So in the beginning, we did load testing real simple. We would just take a wing and take several sandbags. We'd take Ziploc 10-pound sandbags and we'd set them on the wing until it broke.
We don't use that technique in today, right?
Today we've refined the process somewhat. We've got what we call a Wiffle Tree, and it's a very elaborate device. It looks like a giant mobile, and it has beams and hydraulic cylinders and turnbuckles and this and that type of doohickey. And it attaches to a wing, and by applying loads through the Wiffle Tree, you can quickly apply and offload a wing and very much fairly test a wing. Or with the old lead bag or sandbag method, you'd set the limit load on or the ultimate load on for quite a number of seconds. And in the real life or in certification, it's only required to have the load on there for 3 seconds.
How many G's do we test to?
Well, there's different criteria. Now, we go to normal category on most of our aircraft and then aerobatic on others. And it's kind of confusing because there's 2 load tiers, so to speak. There's In normal categories like 3.8 positive and 1.5 negative to limit load. That means you can go to those load factors all day long without worrying about your structure failing or deforming. Then after that we go to what we call ultimate, which in normal category is 6 Gs positive and 3 negative. At that point that structure may fail or possibly have deformation, and past 6 Gs you can expect it to fail or catastrophically fail or deform.
When we speak of G-forces and how many Gs this particular wing will hold, are we talking about an aircraft that is fully loaded with the pilot,
right,
with the fuel,
yeah, you
at
always
gross maximum?
You deal with gross weights. You deal with gross weights. And there's always a design margin, safety margin into the structure, so you can allow for things like corrosion or misassembly or substandard something in the system. Interestingly enough, in certification they require quite a larger margin for the infittings, like your strut attach points and whatnot, for that to be bumped up quite a bit.
If you're interested in more information on RANS products, we have other videos available, including the factory tour with all of our aircraft, the Super 6, the S-12 seaplane, our clear coat process, and the S-14 assembly.
Everything's quiet right now in the RANS sew shop. In a moment, we'll see how they stitch it up. Our employee profile for this month is Edie Tholen. Good afternoon, Edie, and how are you doing?
I'm just fine, thank you.
How long have you been with the RANS Corporation?
I've worked here for 8 years.
Now, where do you work?
I work in the sew shop.
The sew shop?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the sew shop. I'm looking around and you have seat cushions, and it looks as though you make kites. Is that true?
No, we don't make any kites.
Okay.
They've told us that the fabric is too heavy to make kites. We make the skins for the airplanes, for the 5 of the models of the airplanes, and we make the seat covers for all the airplanes, the shoulder harnesses and seat belts, and we make bike bags and bike seats.
Gosh, how I'm looking around this place and I see bike bags and seats everywhere. How many employees do you have?
There's 4 of us with me.
Edie, tell us a little bit about what goes into the making of an actual wing skin.
The wing skins are started from a flat piece of fabric. They're taped together and marked different places for the patches and zippers. Then they're taken back to the sewers that sew the seams, the broad seams that sew the pieces together, and then they sew the patches and the zippers. Then they're taken back and the ribs are put in place and the ribs are sewn on, and then the wingtip is sewn and they're sewn together and the Velcro is sewn in place.
How long have you been sewing besides at the RANS company?
I've sewn since I was 7 years old. That's a long time.
So you're obviously very, very good at it. Do you like it here?
I love it here.
What do you like most about working at RANS?
Oh, I like the people, and I like the sewing, the skins, and seeing the finished product. I think we have a wonderful product.
Edie, thank you very much for taking time out from your very busy schedule to visit with us this afternoon.
You're welcome.
During the fourth quarter of 1997, RANS had a traditional ribbon cutting ceremony with a rather non-traditional twist. Every single RANS employee was given a pair of scissors and, on cue, cut the ribbon, marking the official opening of the brand new facility in Hays, Kansas.
Now's your chance to get a RANS t-shirt, a RANS hat, or even both. T-shirts are only $12, hats are only $10. So before you go to the next air show, be cool. Wear a RANS t-shirt or a RANS hat. Give us a call or send your order to the factory today. Get a RANS and be cool.
Dopin fabric or pre-sewn skins? In this segment, we're going to compare and find out which is best for you.
Since we offer the Coyote 2 with a choice of coverings, there's some debate as to which system to choose. Both offer some distinct advantages. As we compare them, maybe you'll see which one is right for your project. The Dacron covering is less work to install. With the use of root rib tension systems on the wings, ailerons, and flaps, skins are as tight as the Dopin fabric counterpart. The fuselage laces up like a giant shoe, and with a bit of tugging and pulling becomes drum tight. The tail uses a lace-up at the root of the stabilizers and rudder. The elevators, however, feature more of a challenge with their slip-in rib design. Despite the fact the methods are a little atypical to aircraft covering, a novice can have the entire plane covered in 3 days or less. Once the covering is on, they're technically ready to fly. However, it is highly recommended to apply a clear coat. Applying a clear coat will require painting equipment and skills similar to Dopin fabric, but is still a much less involved procedure. To learn how our factory experts do it, order our 18-minute video on how to clear coat. A good clear coat will enhance the flight performance and lengthen the skin life many-fold. In fact, with a properly applied clear coat, the skins will last up to 10 to 12 years if hangered. Repairing a Dacron skin has been an issue that has led a few to decide not to clear coat. The thinking here is, if the skin or airframe is damaged, it'll be easier to remove for repairs. In reality, this so-called advantage hardly ever comes into play. If the airframe is damaged, the skin may be also. If the skin only is damaged, it could be removed and a patch sewn on. In the case where a clear coat has been applied, it is far less work to glue on a patch. The Dacron skin system is somewhat limited on choices of colors and schemes. After all, the layout of fabric determines its best strength and stretch. The more stripes, color zones, and seams a skin has, the more potential for wrinkles and weak spots. That's a small drawback for most when faced with designing a paint job. And in the other corner is the Dopin fabric system. It comes with all the traditional details such as rib lacing, surface tapes, exit ports, access panels, and so on. Sounds a little intimidating, but done RANS style, it cuts down to size in no time. For instance, our rib lacing method is many times faster than traditional methods, and even faster with the pop rivet option. We take it even further. All the access panels and control exits come cut out or formed. All the locations of the tapes, reinforcement patches, access panels, and exits are outlined in the manual. No doubt about it, Dopin fabric will take more time, but for the individual seeking that look and is up to the challenge, the end result will be very rewarding. From a performance standpoint, the Dopin fabric will have a slight edge in both flight and longevity. Dopin fabric could last as long as 13 to 18 years if hangered. In the air, the Dopin fabric plane can have as much as a 2 to 5 mile-an-hour difference in cruise speeds. As we sum things up, each system appears to be a winner in its own right. The one that is right for you is the one that can best achieve the results to satisfy your flying needs, from performance to appearance to personal gratification.
In this issue, we're again talking with John Slitter, who's Director of Recumbent Operations for the RANS Corporation. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Rick.
We have a new and exciting product line for 1998 in regard to the recumbent bicycles. Could you tell us a little bit about them?
Yeah, 1998 has been streamlined way down from our previous lines. We are rapidly approaching the mainstream of bicycle. Okay, the bicycle industry itself, our sales are starting to triple over the last 6 months. We've been snowed under. With those events happening, we took a long, hard look at our previous product lines of our recumbents, and we streamlined it down to 9 models of bikes. And what the key things we did was we eliminated a lot of choices for the consumer. Things like where now we have, per se, the Tailwind, which is our introductory level model, is available in red, and as long as you like red, you can have red or red or red.
Just like in the Model A days, you can have a Model A as long as it's in black.
That's right. We've gone ahead and pushed this through the whole product line, and I found out that it hasn't been a detriment because the demand is so built up for the bikes right now people are willing to accept one color choice.
Are there any significant differences between your top of the line and the bottom of the line, if you will?
Yes, there is. Basically, our RANS quality is built into all the models. We have lifetime warranties on all our models on the frame, but the items that separate them would be the components package. When you're down at a $1,000 bicycle versus a $2,000 bike, we have a variety of components that are of higher quality, lighter, better, stronger, or that generally just cost a lot more money because they're lighter and of higher quality. That's what causes the bikes to go up in price.
So when we're talking about a high-end bicycle, we're talking about high-end components. As an example,
compared to, let's say, for example, our $995 bike, the Tailwind, versus the new RANS Vivo for $1998 at $2,050, you would say, let's compare cranksets. The Vivo has a Ritchie Logic crankset, which retails by itself for like $140, whereas the $995 Tailwind has a crankset that retails for $75, but it weighs a few ounces more than the Ritchie Logic, and the method of constructing it might be slightly different. These fine little details is what causes the price of the bikes to go up. Generally, it means a few ounces less, making the bike lighter, meaning you can go faster with the same amount of energy put out on the lower price bike.
in closing, it's fair to say that the RANS company makes a total of 9 different models for 1998. Very briefly, if you could describe the entry level as we step through up into the enthusiast level for a RANS bicycle.
1998 brings us a defined entry-level bike called the Tailwind. Retails for $995. It's a compact long wheelbase bike. Then we go up to the Rocket, which is a short wheelbase bike for $1150, which gets closer to the race car driver type attitude, the real aggressive type stance type rider. Then we go into the V-Rex for $1645, which is another short wheelbase bike that was the catalyst for pushing RANS into the limelight several years ago. The V-Rex model is a very sought after enthusiast bike by recumbents. Then we have several models after those. Those are what I would call our mainstay bikes right there. And then we go into our Stratus, which retails for $1670 and is the first model that Randy designed and introduced back in '78 of our recumbents. And then we have a Saturn V, which is the high-end enthusiast model for a Rocket, for the first, and that has to have the best type components on that bike, and it retails for over the $1,700 mark. Then we go into our suspension models, the Gliss, which is a rear-end suspension bike, long wheelbase, very much like the Tailwind in design, but it has a suspension in it and the high-end components on it. Then we have the Vivo, which is new for 1998, a full suspension short wheelbase bike that retails for $2,050. Those are our single seat bikes, as we call them. Then we jump into our tandems, which Screamer is our base model, retails for $4,000. And then new for '98 in the Screamer model, we introduced a independent pedaling system, which allows the captain or the stoker to coast whenever they want to, without having to communicate.
No matter if you're interested in an entry-level recumbent-style bicycle up to and including the enthusiast level, you've come to the right place when you've come to RANS. John, thank you very, very much for taking time from your busy schedule to chat with us about this exciting lineup for 1998.
As always, Rick, it's been a real pleasure.